special series is what we're getting into right now. And remember, folks, we've been doing this very regularly for the past few months. We've had moments on the show which have been hot, some have been cold. But the crux, the bottom line, the compendium has been the state of the economy, where we have come from, where we are today, and where we are going. Predominantly, our focus, our attention, and our wherewithal has been where we are going. Because right now, the economy, if I can use the word, is in doldrums. And obviously, new ideas and newer people, especially the new blood in the business echelons, is going to make sure that we move out of this bubble called COVID-19 and resume things how they were. And let me introduce some of the smartest business minds on the panel today. Joining me on the program in no particular order is Mr. Jairaj Bhattacharya, who's the MD and co-founder of Convi Genius Group. Please don't mind my French if I fumble or I make a mistake while pronouncing the company's name. We can rectify that later on as well. Shalini Raj, founder of Journey Weavers, is also with us on the platform. Mr. Amol Roy, founder of Shuttercast, also joins us on the program. Mr. Nikhil Kurele, co-founder and CEO of Nauka Robotics. That is something which is going to come extremely handy in the few days to come. Mr. Rajiv Kumar Agarwal, founder, co-founder and CEO of Store Hippo, also joins us on the program. Mr. Sohail Kapoor, EVP and co-founder of Absolute Data, is with us on this exclusive show as well. And last but not the least, Dr. Anurag Batra, Chairman and Editor-in-Chief of Business World and Exchange for Media Group. We've been doing this for quite some time. Anurag has been my co-anchor. He's been bailing me out of situations where I found myself not able to respond, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing again. I hope not today. Mr. Jairaj Bhattacharya, let me start by asking you a very simple question. Where are we today? Is this a place where the Indian economy envisaged it would be perhaps, last year at the same time? And now that we are in this junction, in this crossroads, how do we get out of it? And what you and your company have been doing amidst these challenges, speak about them also, to come out of it.
Thank you. So where we are today, I would call it, we are in a situation which is called as VUCA. The world is volatile, ambiguous, and uncertain. And during VUCA, innovations happen, like how innovations happen during war, innovations happen during VUCA. And the COVID-19 has presented us with a situation of crisis where the economy has gone bonkers and innovation is happening. And I part of Convi Genius, we were a social enterprise. I founded it about 6 years back. We were working on digitizing and introducing technology for the underprivileged, the bottom 100 million children. So we were presented with an opportunity where schools got shut, and our schools did not know how to talk, our children, our teachers were completely stranded. So that was an opportunity for us to kind of make technology mainstream. So a lot of the states that were running pilots and running technology in smaller segments in terms of a cluster of schools went mainstream. So states are adopting our technology all throughout, all the schools in one go. So the user base and the business is exploding. So that's where we are.
So you're one of the few people to whom the pandemic has been kind on.
You could say that, touch wood.
You don't have to be so modest. You can.
We're very mindful of the problems that all of us are facing on the lives and livelihood front. But if some of you have benefited, that would help other people. So really, in that way, you're contributing to the overall growth of the community and the country.
That's a good point.
At this point, let me bring in Sohail. Sohail, as Mr. Mukesh Ambani showed us, data is the new oil. What he's done in the last 6 months of raising almost $20 billion and another couple of billion in the retail business. Tell us how data has become more important, and tell us how data will drive the decisions at big businesses, medium businesses, and small businesses. Sohail.
Yes, thanks, Anurag. So, yes, that's true. In fact, that's a quote that we say quite often. He didn't invent that quote, but it's very convenient for him, given he has the oil business and now the data business. But having said that, we've been saying this for a long time, that data is the new oil. I think the realization has come more recently over the last 2-3 years. and of course, very much so now, as companies are moving towards digital transformation. I think specifically because of this pandemic, how the world is changing. People are moving towards e-commerce, internet, from entertainment to purchasing, and all of that requires companies to understand consumers better, and that can only happen if they have better data to analyze. So that's why Mukesh Ambani is investing, because through Geo he's able to collect data of 300, 400 million consumers. That's why all of these companies from all over the world are investing into Geo, because they don't want to miss out on that action. They can't go into China. Europe is almost.
Tell us the implications for your business and for the environment. Of course, this is now like a new normal. We know this, but go beyond this.
Yeah, so the new normal is what we're operating now. You rightly said it. This is what we call the new normal, where people are getting used to this.
I call it the new abnormal, because there's nothing normal about it. But go on, tell us how your business has done. Where do you see it going?
Sure. So I can give you some examples. So what we're calling now is the new normal, but what we're waiting for is the next normal, because this is new for maybe 6 months, hopefully. After that will be what's next. So really that's what we're preparing for now. How it's affected us. So we are a company which provides AI and analytics services to companies globally and in India. And it's affected us differently in both ways. Globally, of course, the pandemic started in Feb, March. So we saw clients contracting, orders contracting. We had people on site. So of course, travel restrictions meant that they couldn't go to clients. We couldn't go to sell. So obviously business contracts because of that. Even within India, however, we have business with Reliance, with Tata, and with other companies. Most of them, if not the majority, have actually put their work on pause, because the work is perceived as something, first you want to preserve your core. You want to make sure your employees are getting their pay. You want to make sure that your customers are buying your products. After that comes IT, consulting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that was a blip. Now, fortunately, we're seeing that the V, had to kind of become a U. So the economic recovery still hasn't climbed up the U. We're still on the decline, 24% reduction last quarter. And
these are things we know. We want to know specifically what's happening to you. We'll come back to you. To every panelist, please give us specifics. Don't tell us there is COVID, there's a new normal. We want to know from you what's happening to your business. Where do you? So don't give us general things.
So let me respond in 10 seconds.
I know you're setting a context, but I think we know the context.
Sure, let me respond in 10 seconds. What's happened to us is we conserved cash. People were happy in office generally. They respected that. We cut salaries for 3 months to make sure we could survive. We had some attrition and some forced, some non-forced. We also invented some new products for COVID, which will be the next new
normal. Tell us a bit about those products and services.
Exactly. We've reduced
how the new abnormal help you create new products. Tell us a bit about that.
Exactly. So we launched something called a COVID toolkit, which will go into AI, so companies can actually figure out what's happening in their industry. It's something which we had not thought of until COVID hit us. We actually gave some services for free during the period, and now people are asking for new pilots around that. So that's an improvement. We're building new products around digitization, which is what I was saying. So those are the 3 things on the positive side, which I can tell you about. We've also reduced rental, so we've had cost savings because we've had work from home. So we've actually given up office space. So those are some of the tactical things.
That's true for most companies. Vineet is doing the show from his home. I'm doing the show from my home. Traditionally, me and Vineet would meet in the studio and do the show. Shalini, travel business has been decimated. It's come to zero. I mean, is your business still active? What have you done to pivot? Because you weave journeys and people are not undertaking journeys except for virtual, video journeys. So tell us, how are you reimagining your business? And when do you see travel business coming back fully or partially?
So yes, travel, of course, as everybody knows, that it's down. But yes, in the current times, in the last 1-2 months, it started picking up with people taking, I think, a little bit of step ahead by going to weekend destinations. So if I am based out of Delhi, there are queries which are happening for maybe Manesar or Jaipur or Himachal or for Uttarakhand, Uttaranchal. Of course, they have to abide by the rules, because there are certain states which have those 5 days minimum stay, they have pre-COVID tests and all the other things. There are states which have no rules, like Rajasthan doesn't have a rule. So people are more comfortable towards going to Rajasthan and staying there instead of going to a Uttarakhand where they have to get a pre-COVID negative test done. तो जाने से पहले आपका 10,000 रुपए खर्चा हो जाता है for a family for 4. So people avoid going there. एक तो डर that you will become COVID positive, the chances. Yes, in terms of the first and foremost thing that we did as travel agents, yes, there was no money, but we kept ourselves engaged. Is by one vertical of my travel was corporate travel. Getting their tickets done, off sites and other things. So while people were not going to their offices, what we did, we collaborated with a lot of life coaches, extracurricular activities. We brought these workshops to their place at home while they were working from home. So the idea was not earning money, but the idea was being in touch. Because, when time comes back, people will always remember Journey Weavers to be in touch with them. So there is something which we've always believed is human touch. So, these online portals are there. Today, I have queries where people come back to me and they ask me, Shalini, mujhe yahan jana hai, should I go there? How safe is it? Which property do I stay?
So understood. Shalini, how much percentage of your business has come back? 10%, 20%, 30%? I'm trying to or 5%.
Say about just 3 to 4%.
Oh, that's extreme.
This is really bad. So, while we developed a vertical for wedding planning that we'll do small destination weddings, so the bigger wedding planners have started doing those smaller weddings. So where does that business also come to us? There's a lot.
Industry, Shalini, tell us about the state of the industry. Now, you are at a point where you can, focus on what's really happening with the travel industry. Just like the events industry, like the restaurant industry, it has taken a massive, a cruel, a very callous beating on behalf of the COVID-19 situation. Apprise us and our viewers of what the industry is going through right now. If your business has come back by 3 to 4%, which is good enough to be called just marginal, then what's the situation with the industry?
So I'll tell you why, because the government hasn't supported the travel industry, though they did like a lot of suggestions which were given by Faith and the other organizations of the travel industry.
The government hasn't supported a lot of industries, and
it has, but not the travel industry specifically. Specifically, what we need to do is innovation is the only thing we need to keep going, coming back forth. And so something which we are working personally as a team is doing staycations. Staycations is where employees are given longer holidays, like 1 month you go to Goa and you book a 4 BHK or a 2 BHK, you go and work from home while you're away from home. And the other one which I think which is really going to take up if the government supports is caravan tourism. So now people are wanting to go in small, 5 group of smaller groups. So I think that is where caravan tourism is going to take a lot of. But for caravan tourism, the government needs to support because you have to park a caravan. Your country needs to be safe, and Indian tourism is what is going to pick up. India has to be safe for people to be confident that I can travel within the city and stay.
It's a healthcare issue. Let's tackle the healthcare issue first. Everything else will happen. Rajiv, give us a sense of how the last 6 months have been for your company. You're an e-commerce company, so clearly you would be doing well. Give us a sense of what your numbers have been and where do you see this digital economy taking your company and the industry?
Yeah, sure, Anurag. So we are in e-commerce. So, like as we can guess, we are one of the industries which have been fortunate and where the COVID has been, this entire period has been very kind. Not as kind as Mr. Bhattacharya, but we have seen the growth. So as a company, like we have grown around like maybe 60 to 70% in top line revenue. So, and like you mentioned, as some industry will grow, it will help the overall economy. So we have been able to increase our team size also by 30 to 40%. And so this COVID pandemic, what it has done to e-commerce specifically. So like we know like it was on the go, like what we were forcing to happen in 5 years from now, that has happened now. That time window has shortened. So nobody had doubt before also that it will reach to that point. But now that time period has shortened. So we are reaching there much faster. Now different brands, due to the fear, or you can say like even bigger brands, which were earlier reluctant or they had this in their back burner. They didn't have this actively on their agenda. Now they have this actively on their agenda. I mean, still people are moving cautiously because like they are avoiding any non-essential spending, so they are putting that on hold. And some businesses still feel like e-commerce is still like maybe this tide will get over and they will get back to the normal. So, but overall, the impact has been very positive.
Okay. Anmol, I know you're a technology company. You do app development. I am assuming that you also done very well. Give us a sense of how do you see the future, and have people around you, entrepreneurs around you, benefited from the economic stimulus? Amol?
Talking specifically about our industry, so we have seen tremendous growth because everyone is rushing to get their website made and app made. Everyone wants an online presence now. So in that space, we have seen a lot of growth. Talking about the stimulus package, personally, I have a few friends who have been facing a lot of challenges due to the COVID situation. So the loan that government is providing the MSME, the low interest rate loans the government is providing the MSMEs, I feel that it would help the companies struggling with the cash flow and initial problems for the time being until the market picks up and everything goes back to normal.
Thank you so much. You know, one of the questions me and Vineet have been asking on our show is, and we want you to be honest before I'll come to you. I know Nikhil is left and we must ask him his opening comment, is how do you see the economy in the next 3-6 months? Diwali, IPL are round the corner. IPL is 3 days away. Diwali is 2 months away. So, of course, temporarily there'll be a lift up. Will it sustain post that? What is the pivot you're doing in your businesses? Where do you see the overall economy going? Where do you see the demand going? But Nikhil, before we do that, your opening comments, Nikhil Kurele.
Yeah. So, like, I have seen both scenarios. One of the business stream, like, getting completely to zero, because the solar business where I was in before COVID, it was a operation intensive business, and it requires my team to travel to remote locations, which are not possible without like having using these public transportations and other things. So all because of all these travel restrictions, my solar business definitely got affected a lot. But at the same time, the venture which we have pivoted into the healthcare system definitely has benefited us, because when we are talking about any startup company in India, particularly, most of the startups, they remain in their particular domain. And we, being a robotics company, we chose to get into the ventilators development, and definitely by the support from IIT Kanpur and our investors, Indian Angel Network. We leveraged all that network resources and we developed the ventilator. So definitely it has been a very positive impact in the company this particular time. The solar business is now reviving, definitely because of the relaxations in the travel and other restrictions from the state government, because it's primarily scattered across India. And when we are talking about the healthcare, yes, definitely the growth is there because we started actually from zero. So, but definitely the demand which was projected earlier, the kind of demands for the ventilators and the other machines which were projected earlier by the government is definitely much, much higher than what exactly the demand is right now. And also one of the challenges which we see, there are certain issues when we are talking about the refurbished product. So that is something which is also affecting the economy. When we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, definitely the push should be given to the companies which are manufacturing products in India, not just the SKU unit, but primarily from the scratch. Because then you are talking about the employment generation, then you are talking about several aspects of economies, operation, sales, and everything. So definitely, particularly talking about Noka, we being a startup, definitely we have grown. The team size has grown to almost 100%. So we were a team of around 25. Now we are 50 plus team members, including every different departments of the company. And healthcare is definitely growing, and it is something which will grow because people now are looking healthcare as a primary thing for them.
In the near future, me and Vineet will be replaced by robots doing the show. The serious question is, do you see, for example, in home cleaning, of course, in manufacturing for the last 10 years, robotics and mechanization is a reality in a big way. But do you see in consumer applications in our homes, do you see robots playing bigger roles? Of course, in industrial automation, it's a given that it is happening at a pace that we possibly cannot see in a Hollywood sci-fi movie. But tell us about consumers. Do you think we'll let robots become part of our families?
Well, I would say not exactly, because when we are talking about Indian mentality, right? So there are a lot of things which come with a price benefit. So even if you see the like people above the, if we take top 1 or 2% in the Indian economy, like people who are the top 1 or 2% rich people, even they have the resistance in spending such money in that. So and what we have seen when we are talking about the robots in a family, so definitely it can be a toy for your kid. It can be something which is
For
helping you,
example,
but
cleaning of the home, mopping of the home, mopping
so
utensils,
that's yeah.
for example, cleaning your window panes. I mean, I'm talking of mechanical, road-based stuff which doesn't really need, specialized skills and is easy to do. And I know it's happening. A lot of people are buying robots for cleaning of their floors. I'm one of them, so on and so forth. So what I'm trying to ask you, do you see that becoming a new normal in the next 6, 12 months? Because you don't want maid servant to come. You don't know even if she's tested well. So that's the question I'm trying to ask.
Anurag, in fact, had asked a very pivotal question to Nikhil about whether artificial intelligences someday could replace humans. Perhaps not at every level, Nikhil, but there could be areas where human beings and our prowess to execute certain tasks could be negated.
So answering to your question, Anurag, what I feel, since we were in the cleaning space, that is something which we also did as a market research. What we feel, particularly about the home cleaning robots, I feel that the market share which is there, the market which exists for the home cleaning, automated home cleaning, is very less. There are multiple reasons for that. Because of the construction we have in India, most of the things we do not have the construction which suit the requirement for those kind of robots. And the second thing, there are multiple things which are done for the. So it's not just the cleaning which any maid does. So it's multiple things which you get from your maid and that particular price range. And when we are talking about the price of these robots currently, these are 40,000, 50,000. That is something, the upfront payment in Indians, like for these kind of things, is something which is not very common. So paying 2,000 to 3,000 rupees per month to a maid and having a feeling of giving an employment, that is overruling that particular thing, and especially in the time of COVID. So I do not, I personally feel that that will not be the case, at least for next 12 to 24 months in India.
Okay, Nikhil. So here, bringing you in, if you look at data, what is data telling us that you can tell our viewers, which can help them live their lives better, run their businesses better, and be more prepared for the next 6-12 months?
So what data is telling us is, when as a company, we're participating in RFPs to get business. For 6 months, that was going slow. Now those RFPs are picking up. What that means is that we'll get more business. What that means is that we'll be able to produce more goods. What that means is that we'll be able to invest more, in stuff, and the economy in general will come up. So I think consumer confidence is something that needs to go up. Consumers need to start spending more.
How confidence will go up?
What confidence
will get that confidence up?
Confidence will go up if they know that after 2 months, if I want to buy a scooter, I can actually go and start choosing the scooter I want to buy. Right now, we have a confidence measure which we actually take. We have a little research wing where we do that every month, and the confidence level is going down every month, which means that if I want, and the questions we ask are, how likely are you to buy a car or an appliance in the next 6 months? And that's going down. That needs to start going up. That will only go up if the people are convinced that after 6 months, I'll have a job, I might have an increment, maybe not, maybe I will. My taxes might go less, my interest rate might go down, my home loan rate might go down, my the pause on my installment might continue. All of those things are things which bring confidence back. There was a big confidence boost after the announcement of the stimulus, a few months ago, but that went back down because stimulus was not seen by people who actually are the middle class and upper class. It was good for people getting grains. Which was great to avert disaster. But on the ground now, the middle class person who's actually going and buying that scooter or that fridge was not affected. So those are the type of data points they need to see, which will then give them confidence, which then will make them go out and buy something, which then will make the economy go back on track. Until people buy, the economy will not go back on track.
Okay, let me bring in Amol again here. Amol, technology spending has gone up. And people are looking at technology not just as capex, they are looking at opex. even technology companies have created an OPEX model, no upfront payment, pay as you use. I mean, classically it was called ASP. But tell us, how has, you already talked about your business has gone up, but tell us over the next 12 months, do you see businesses investing a lot more in technology than in, people? And give us a sense of how do you see the next 6-12 months? COVID has become the biggest technology enabler. Dare I say COVID is now the chief digital officer of most companies or the digital transformation head of most companies. So give us a sense of how fast in every segment, small, medium, big, technology is becoming even more core and technology spending is growing.
So one thing that particularly I have noticed in these times is basically that a lot of companies are realizing the importance of technology. Where they used to be like, if I have a store, I don't need a website or I don't need an app. So we never had clients that are into a physical store and they want a website or an app. But what COVID has changed in their minds is that digital is going to be the future, and being online and having an online presence. So in 6 or 12 months, particularly, I see one thing is that realization will help businesses to move forward in investing technologies, because we in India need to understand the importance of technology as a whole, because we see technology as some part of it. Definitely enables it. It acts as a bridge between the customer and the company. It definitely acts as a bridge, but the bridge has to be good. The apps, if I talk about specific apps, they have to be of the better quality. Companies need to invest in improving their user experience and basic stuff like that. So I definitely see this going upwards in the coming time, and COVID has definitely made people aware that technology is very important part of any business right now.
Well, as it has made people did not have an option, Amol. They had to embrace it. It was like a necessary evil.
Yeah, but now they understand that if they have a store in Delhi, they can sell their goods to whole India. I'm talking about those small businesses, those small stores who were unaware about things. They knew Amazon, they knew that e-commerce works, but they were happy with the clients they had. But when the stores closed down completely, they have to move somewhere, and that has shown them the potential of technology. So,
fantastic. In terms of spends, suppose a medium-sized organization, 250 crores, 300 crores turnover, was spending, let's say, 10 crores on technology. What is the kind of, and I've taken 10 crores is 4% spend. Do you see the spend going up? If yes, by how much?
If I talk about my experience personally in the past 6 months, it has definitely gone up by around 50% for every client. Because they want now more visibility on Google. They want the website to come on top. They want to be the part of the competition, which they were usually unaware of. So I think 50%, I can say that it has grown up for a medium-sized company.
Okay, coming back to you, Rajiv. Now, Rajiv, we know that e-commerce will become a large part of retail. We talk of omni-retail. We talk of omni-channel. And a lot of retail stores seeing drop in footfall for obvious reasons. You see the technologies like AR, VR being used in a big way in categories like jewelry, because there are wedding season around the corner, there is Diwali. So do you see that becoming mainstream, where through technology we're able to have an immersive user experience and hence be able to transact in categories that we traditionally kind of experience physically, whether it's automobiles, buying homes, buying jewelry. So give us a sense of, is that happening or it's a pipe dream?
No, it is surely happening. Like jewelry, I mean, Carrot Lane has been selling jewelry like for quite some time. So jewelry has not been a new in e-commerce. There has been like strong online presence, different jewelers have. So we have seen new categories, like for example, you are working with a major paint brand. So paints are a category like which earlier were not thought to be sold online, because it involved like multiple physical touch points. It involves like a painter to come to you. It involves like somebody local delivering those goods to you, because sending them e-commerce over a long distance.
Why do you even paint? Just get a virtual background.
Which one?
I said, why do you need to buy paint? Just get a virtual background.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
For this kind of meeting, it is absolutely fine.
Right.
But
so you see that will become mainstay. So even
Yes.
when we have a choice to visit a store, because
Uh-huh.
the convenience and the experience will stay on AR VR. Do you see that happening, or
Yes.
just because we have a compulsion to do it from our home and not visit the store, we are using technology? What's your viewpoint?
So we should not blindly follow like new these terms and all that, because for example, AI has been discussed like for last 30, 40 years. But if you look at like the details, if you look at it, the artificial intelligence is not driven by machines. It's by like human beings. So who think through the applications and how we can make it easy. Like it is kind of an automation. So similar to AR. So AR and VR will definitely help, like similar to chatbots or maybe voice speaking assistant. So you can just speak and it will order for you. So all these technologies will definitely evolve. So at this point of time, it's important for brands to have a presence and to be able to adapt to it very fast, so that they don't lose time, because time is very essential.
Jairaj, we started with you. Tell us, how do you see your future? I mean, future of your company over the next 6 months. What are things that you see happening that have kind of seeded themselves in the last 6 months, but will manifest in the next few months?
So I think one thing very importantly we need to identify is the whole education segment has transformed. The possibility that education and learning can happen online was something which was a very far away fact for a middle class and a lower middle class family or a government school student, right? To imagine that we could potentially learn on the phone through WhatsApp or through a Facebook Messenger was something no one could imagine. So imaginations are breaking and paradigms are shifting. So once you have realized that that is possible, then the new normal becomes the normal, right? And once the new normal becomes the normal, habits change. And because the habits have changed, a $40 billion addressable market size that the education K-12 market was, is today, as of now, standing at $80 billion of addressable market size.
And that's why there is so much interest in Indian edutech. Look at the amount of money flowing in edutech, and it looks like we just got started.
Right. It is estimated that about $1.8 billion will be invested by venture capital and private equity in the next 5 to 6 quarters in edtech alone. So schools might go virtual. I mean, I was discussing with the policy panel. It will be a virtual schooling experience. CBSE certification will be possible to have to on Zoom classes potentially. So that means that your definition of school itself changes. You're not anymore going to one particular address at a school. You could potentially have a virtual school experience where a playground could be accessed from any part of the country as long as it fits into that particular brand of the school, right? And it has certain standards. So definitions are changing. You will see education transform significantly, not just for the top 12 cities of the country, but the whole of Bharat, the bottom 150, 200 million.
The only rider is that technology sometimes, rather than giving an equal platform, creates more digital have-nots. It creates digital, divide, because a lot of government schools and students in, let's say, tier 3, tier 4 towns have no tablets, as in access devices,
no smartphones, and
connectivity issues. So for a while they were cut off from the world, or cut off from education. But I'm sure as we make this a new normal, we will address those issues. Let me go back to the travel business, which is slowly coming back.
Yeah.
We'd like to know from you, Shalini, that if we talk to you in 6 months, tell us where do you see the Indian travel industry going, and do you think we'll be back 50-60%?
Yes, definitely. The good part of travel will be that tourism in India will increase. So while people were holding their weddings, people were holding their occasional travel outside, people would go for a bachelorette or a bachelor's to Bangkok, Thailand, wherever, Spain. This is the time India is going to earn all its beauty, charm in terms of travel, because you are left with no option, but you have to appreciate what you have. And when you have a constraint, you will identify that, within India, you have beautiful places, you have things. So 50-60%, yes, we will have, and there will be smaller occasions, but the number of occasions will increase. Because you have limited number of people, people will celebrate more. So the idea tap those special markets. And how do we do that? We are working on that. There's an agency who's working on that. That if there is a cocktail, there is a sangeet, there is a roaster, there is a bachelorette, there's a bachelor's. So what is in it for them? What do we?
So how do you replicate those experiences in this smaller format? Limited gatherings. So this experience will become more bespoke, more deeper. For example, what you're saving on travel in terms of flying to another city in weddings, you'll possibly spend it on food. You spend it on gold. You possibly spend it in a gift that can be redeemed later. So again, these are dynamics that are playing out. What me and Vineet would like to do from each one of you, ask you two questions. One, when do you see the Indian economy coming back in full bloom? In 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months plus? Second is a combination of two questions. What is that one gift, edge, thinking that you've learned in the last 6 months as an entrepreneur, business person, that will hold you in good stead throughout your life? And what is, if they have a contrarian view on something, we'd love to know. Because contrarian thinking sometimes creates new paradigms, creates innovation. Entrepreneurs who think in a different way are able to see opportunities in places where other people don't see opportunities. So first, when do you see the economy coming back? Sohail Kapoor?
12 months from now. I think
12 months from now or 12 months from the day COVID vaccine is found?
12 months from now, because there's a limit to the extent you can withhold businesses from spending and people from traveling and people from buying scooters. So 12 months is what I'm seeing.
Right. So, Suhail, according to a study, the vaccine is now going to be available to the entire country before 2023.
Yeah, so again, people will live with it. They're living with it now. People in smaller towns, even in Delhi and Bombay, bigger towns, are going out. They're doing their stuff. That won't limit. You have to revive the economy, and people will start spending, and it has to go back up.
Optimism. I like your optimism. All right.
Shalini Raj. And Suhail, what I also want to know from you is a contrarian view, something that you think, but you don't see other people thinking. Give us an input that can help our viewers kind of have something that they can use in their lives. Something that you are seeing, but others are not seeing.
Okay, well, that's a little difficult, but one thing I can say is that we had a lot of hope that we would get external help from government or from here or from there. That doesn't happen. So fend for yourself, assume the worst, take whatever precautions you need, put some money on the side, and then you enjoy life and do whatever else. That's something which, only until this COVID hit did I realize that, how fragile a business or a company or even a family is. I've seen people, go up and down. On this panel, most of the companies are doing well, but, I think that's something which is a little contrarian to most, but that's what I would say one.
Okay. And one skill you learned in the last 6 months, or one mindset change that will hold you in good stead throughout your life?
That we need to change. We were happy with status quo. I think what's happened is we suddenly re-looked at everything from scratch, whether it's, as a business, whether it's, the need to go, how to spend time with the family, how the family goes to school, all of those things, all of these new equations.
Never say never. What you learned is never say never. Have an open mind. Mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. Right?
Exactly. Yes.
Rajiv Kumar Agarwal, when will the economy be back? In how many months?
So if it comes about like the economy in GDP numbers and in absolute numbers, I think it might take some time, like 12 to 18 months. If you ask a question like when people feel like normal in the current situation, or when things will adjust. So I think it will be sooner than that, because Indians have been very resilient. So during this pandemic, like before, they will adapt to the situation. So people, like for example, they cut down on their extra spending and all that. So that might mean that economy might not be as to the original level very soon, but people will get comfortable with that approach.
Okay.
So, of course, that might affect certain industries like travel and tourism or hospitality to a great extent, and those industries might take a little longer. because the habits that people grow during this time, they're going to stay there for some time, and it will be hard to fend that off.
Okay, Jairaj, when do you see the economy coming back in full bloom?
So 5 quarters to be precise in terms of numbers, between 12 to 18 months. But I would specifically like to comment on the fact that what COVID has taught us is, the fact that you're always a startup. The companies who always consider themselves always as a startup are always thinking day zero, right? You're always at day zero. When you're not in that day zero mentality, you're always observing, and you're always expecting that things will go wrong. And if you have that kind of an agile mindset, a lot of entrepreneurs who had that welcomed the fact and started transforming themselves immediately and found opportunities in everything. And there you see innovation happening. So I think however big you are, look at examples of Amazon. They have these day zero mentalities where they are always open to opportunities. So the contrarian point that you were talking about, I think it is necessary to keep growing. And when you consider yourself looking at the future and not at the past, the wealth that you have accumulated, but what you want to accumulate further in the future, then you're always in the same pedestrian, same level. And I think that mentality will always keep you ahead in situations like this.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.